What's up, everybody? It's another dope episode of Black Comic Lords with our comic creators interview series. And today we're blessed with having the pair of Fair Square Graphics with Kristal Adams and Fabrice Cebulski. I got to meet this duo back in New York at the Schaumburg Centennial Celebration / Black Comic Book Festival in June. And if you're not familiar with Fair Square Graphics, you're going to learn about them today. That's why we brought them on. They're doing some incredible work, and it definitely deserves recognition. So with that, Kristal, Fabrice, thank you for joining us tonight. Appreciate you being here. Sorry it's taken so long to get you on. We had a busy year last year. I promised to bring you guys on for a while now. Really happy to have you here finally.
We're here now. Thank you.
That's right. That's right. So let's, Dr. Wizard, let's bring up the book that kind of got me introduced to the two of you. Noir is the New Black. Very special book, pops up in our community all the time, particularly given the amount of Black creators that we have in our space who have contributed to this book. Can you guys talk about this book?
Yeah. So I think what I love about the history of this book is in part how it coincided with what was going on in our country at the time. So
when did it come out originally? The first one.
Well, the idea first got generated like right around George Floyd. So this is a time where, a lot of people are asking themselves questions about how it is and who they are meant to be as a response to what was happening. And what I really appreciate is, Fabrice had a friend was like, do what you do best.
That's T.C. Harris.
Yes.
Props to T.C., who's the co-editor of the series.
Yeah.
Why don't you guys tell us, for those who aren't familiar, what is Noir is the New Black? I mean, it's an anthology series. So go ahead and discuss what is this book and why is it so significant?
Well, yeah. So I'm getting to that. So basically, TC was like, do what you do best, but do it in a way that helps and uplifts the Black community. And one of the things that Fabrice does really well is noir. He's known for, does not like to talk about it because there's a lot of needles in the story there, but he's the co-creator of Spider-Man Noir. He wrote the original series.
And David Hine.
Yeah. So, and a lot of the stories that he has generated over the years, they've had noir as kind of the underpinnings of the story. So the idea was, all right, let's do noir, but let's bring together Black creators from top to bottom, and so every story is a chance for creators to create an original piece of work that they own the creative rights to, and all in the style of noir. And you have a vast interpretations of what that meant in the book. But we do often end up explaining to people what noir is, because as ubiquitous as it may be for people who are familiar to it, there are a lot of people who don't know what it means, what noir means. They know that it means Black, it literally translates to Black, but they don't know what it means as a genre, as a form of storytelling. So that's the other interesting thing, to get to educate people on what noir is. And that I like that there's a lot of people who are introduced to what noir means through these Black voices because of this book.
Give us a rundown of the creators, because you had particularly at the time.
Well, one of them's in the chat. I saw Joe say hi. Joe Illich is in the chat.
The mayor of comics, Joe Illich. He's afraid of me. So talk about, run down the list of some of the people that you had with.
Oh my God. This so when we it was a I mean 2020, it was the height of the pandemic. It was very different from everything that came after. And we had a lot of talent. We didn't know if they would have work in 6 months. And it was kind of like a perfect storm of things where we needed stories. We had creators that had the itch to do something. Everybody was like, it was clearly like the best time, the best place, and we were the conduit. We were the vessel for these creators to do what they do best. And initially, the plan was to do 12 stories. Then, when we started receiving the pitches, it became 13, then 16, then 18. And as a total, we ended up dealing with 48 creators for the first volume, which now extends beyond that because we're in the second series and we have even more creators. So, but yeah, we had, I don't remember who was the first one who signed on. It was probably Greg Burnham. Greg and I, we met before that at conventions every time.
Hannibal.
And Hannibal Taboo also.
He's putting him right here.
Yeah. And then we started adding more. TC had people that he wanted to bring in, and he brought them into the book too. So it was really it was magical the way, like, sometimes I would shoot an email to David Walker and it was like, yeah, absolutely, I want to do it. And so we had, in the end, we had more people who wanted in than spots. So we had to turn down a few, but we had our all-star team there.
Yeah, I'm just running down these names that a lot of us are very
Karen
familiar with.
Darbo. We had, this is also the thing, like some of the talents that we had in Noir is the New Black, like, became very big after. Like Karen Darbo, her first sequential artwork with us, and then now she's doing covers for everybody. She worked for every big studio. She's amazing. Roxy
was also the artist on the. She was the artist on the Bloodline series for Marvel. I mean, she was
right. Absolutely. Roxy was a stand-up comedian that Kristal knew from before. She had never written anything, and she killed it. Like, the first draft was magical, was great. So it was really that kind of thing where it was really the best possible project at the best possible time. And the thing that on top of that, it only took 6 months to create the whole thing top to bottom, which is not a lot of time. So everyone was very professional.
People had time on their hands, though.
Yeah.
we were in a different time.
You got some legends like N. Stephen Harris, Joseph Village, Chris Cross, Greg Anderson, Elise, Dorfeast John, we've had her on here, Brandon Easton, and the legend, GOAT, MD Bright, late great MD Bright. One of my
Gary Phillips. Gary actually, he sent us an email while the campaign was going, and he was like, I want in. And of course, welcome. We love Gary.
That's fantastic. So tell me more about Fair Square Graphics. What is kind of your mission statement? What are your goals? What are you guys all about?
Oh, that's a big it's a big question because it's been shifting, only because I think the economy is shifting, and then we faced a really huge setback last year. So what we hope to be, what I really like to talk in terms of, like, in 5-10 years, what we hope this company will be. And we hope that it will be a place where that represents fairness, fair treatment to creators, We don't want to ever be somebody's horror story. There's a lot of horror stories where you have the company will have a few of their stars, and the stars never have a bad thing to say because they're being treated like stars. And then there's a whole bunch of other people who end up, with the nightmare stories. And we just want to be a company where nobody has a horror story about us. In fact, that people would actually be able to say, I was treated like a human being. I was treated like an artist, and I was treated with respect, and I was given transparency and honesty. Something that I think that I'm really proud that Fabrice does is really showing people what the budget is. I don't know how many large companies can say that they actually show the budget to the people that they're working with. They just say, this is what it is, and you take it or leave it. That's never been how we've operated, and I'm really proud of that. But every bit of the makeup of who we are, you'll see in the books. And so that is, you'll see the books are made with quality paper because that matters. It sends a message to the reader. It sends a message to especially comic fans who are like, they put money into franchises and all of a sudden the paper quality has gone down. And I think that tells you something about what the company thinks about the people who are buying their product. I think the fact that we put this level of care into the paper shows how much we respect the readers of our books. And then I would say every book that we pick is created from a genuine, unique perspective. It's never created from a perspective of like, this is a fad, I want to try it because this is working right now. This is what's popular right now. I'm not going to name any names, but I saw recently a Kickstarter and it had every single buzzword in there that to capture a certain trend that's happening. And I was like, every word that you put in this Kickstarter, they're positive words. And I actually like all of those words, but I feel like I'm being sold something as opposed to you showing me your story. What is the story that you want to tell? And I feel like we're story first. And I really, really proud of that because I think there's a lot of things that are heavy-handed, and that's also not what we are. We are putting what we hope to be in the culture, what we hope will change. It'll be in our books. You'll see it in the lineup. You'll see it and as you read it, but it's not heavy-handed. It's not going to hit you over the head with a message. It's just, this is the world as we hope it will be and what we think it can be.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that we talk about in our space all the time, about the current state of comics, particularly with the corporate comics. Storytelling is really kind of at the back burner of a lot of modern day comics. Yeah. It's more about licensing and franchising than it is about telling great stories. Mm-hmm. And I think we've gotten away from a lot of that.
And on the other side of the spectrum, you have message-based comics. So you have, as you say, corporate comics and message-based comics. Right. And the space in between that used to be the major space has disappeared. And it's kind of like how society has evolved. Like everything is in extremes right now. And we want to try to win back the moderates in the way we approach. That doesn't mean we're lukewarm. We have opinions. We have statements. Our motto is stories from the rest of us, and everything you need to know is about stories from the rest of us. But when we do a queer book, when we do a Black book, when we do an Asian book, when we do a Jewish book, it's never going to be heavy-handed. It's going to be subtle because we want to conquer the heart of people who are not just the natural habitat of the creators or the stories. We want it's from those immigrants and minority voices, but for everybody.
For everybody.
That's actually a very good point about how polarized our society is today, and finding that sweet spot of being somewhere in the middle of, you know, being completely this style versus substance, and kind of bringing both of those together towards the middle again. So I think the book that we're about to talk about tonight is a great example of that. So let's get into that book, Dr. Wizard. Mutiny, Black Girl Magic. Let me tell you, the first time I saw this book was, I think, on the first Kickstarter or something a couple of years ago. And what really caught my eye was just the cover. The cover alone, seeing this strong Black woman. She's got, you know, she's athletic looking. She's got this huge ass hammer, power rippling, art's fantastic. Then I'm like, I've seen this art, and I'm like, God, that's Aletha Martinez. This is Aletha Martinez on this cover.
This is Aletha. Yeah, shout out to Aletha.
She's a legend. She's an absolute legend. Why don't you tell us what went into the inspiration of creating this book?
Yeah, so I guess it doesn't make sense to talk about this book without talking about this right here. So this is a magazine that we created. It's called Mutiny Magazine, and it was
let's make you big here.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first appearance of the character.
Yeah.
So I don't have that, so now I'm upset. I'm sitting here going, you know what? Back when you guys were doing the first Kickstarter, I was signed up, I got the book, what have you. I was ahead of the game. Everyone's going to jump on the bandwagon, but there was one before that. And now,
yeah.
Okay.
So this is actually, so it's a magazine, and the way I come to describe it to people is it's like having Artist Alley in a magazine form. So you have in-depth articles, you have features, and then you also have interviews, and you also have comic short stories. And I loved these comic short stories. It just was really a great, like, how if I want to know a little bit more, or if I'm on the edges and I want to kind of start dipping my toe in and to understand more of the comics world, the ecosystem, this is a great starting place. I think this is something that
hold it up again. Hold it up.
Yeah. So this was,
wow.
You know, if somebody ever,
that's his issue 0.
And if somebody's ever watching that just has, like, you know, $2 million that they just want to throw so that we could do this again, that would be great, because we did, what was it, four issues. It was excellent. People loved it, but we didn't have buy-in from crowds that had, well, really, it was retailers. We're not going to say not all retailers, hashtag not all retailers. But we did not have the kind of buy-in that really would justify the amount of work that went into this product. It was really well done. I mean, it was, you know, there was journalistic integrity. It had, you know, stories of all different genres, like, whereas Noir is the New Black is all noir stories, you have all different types of genre stories in every magazine. And I really loved introducing, like, if I had people at Comic Cons coming up to me and say, you know, whispering, this is my first Comic-Con, I was like, you know what, you might like this magazine, because it's going to introduce you and start getting you used to, like, even how creators like talking about their own work. Because sometimes when people come to Comic-Cons for the first time, they don't even realize that the creators want to talk about their work.
Yeah.
Nobody's told them that.
What came first, that magazine, that issue 0, or the Noir is the New Black?
Noir is the New Black came first. Mm-hmm. And then the next project that we put on Kickstarter was actually Mutiny Magazine, late 2020. That was the second one, and yeah, and in our minds, we wanted to do a diverse and modern version of heavy metal.
Yeah,
and that's why we created this mascot. Like Mutiny was the mascot of the magazine. I called up Crisscross and I asked him to design the original Mutiny, and he came up with this, what you just saw.
Yeah.
So shout out to Crisscross. Love this guy. The hammer is totally his idea, and we had the character evolve, but it was like Tarna for heavy metal. Heavy metal has Tarna. We had Mutiny, and Mutiny was the name of the magazine too. So after the magazine was created, I mean, you want to say what happened after the magazine was created?
Yeah, so after the magazine was created, we actually made Miss Mutiny our company mascot. So she ended up on our banners, and so that meant that every time we're touring the country at different conventions, you know, I'm at the table and they see this like very powerful, awesome looking Black woman, and then they come to the table and they're like, well, where's her book? And this happened enough times that, you know, and Fabrice also was like, we need to have her story. She needs to have a story. Obviously, she will eventually need to have a story, but because I'm at the table, I'm catching the heat. Okay, like they're upset with me. They're like, where's her thing? Okay, and I said, we're getting around to it. They're like, yes, please do. Okay, see that you do.
Yeah.
And so there was a plan in place to get it done, and then the writer for that, it wasn't the right timing, and so now I just
ever think about doing a digital version of the magazine, because
we do have a digital version that is available. Like all of our stuff it's not on there.
Nope.
Yeah. Oh, you kept it. Okay.
Sometimes we offer it through Kickstarters as an add-on.
Mm-hmm.
So we could put the 4 issues in a bundle, and
yeah. But I mean, look, a lot of things are a great concept, but in terms of keeping it up, you know, getting all the interviews together, getting the stories together, all of that is that's
6 covers.
That subtracts
6 original covers.
That subtracts time away from writing books, from editing books, from getting new books out there. And we just decided that right now, the best thing for what we're doing business wise is to put more books out there. This is a great service. And that, you know, if we were able to just keep it going on in the background, that would, you know, bring people to us. But it just takes way too much work to do it at the level that we were doing it. Mostly him was doing it. And so there's so many good ideas and not enough time or money or manpower or women power. So
wow, it sounds like you guys are Black Comic Lords already.
Yeah, we're spinning all the hats, we're juggling all the plates, so
trust, I feel your pain.
Yeah.
But let's talk about Mutiny's book that you did create.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, so we talked a little bit about her origin story in terms of where the character was originally created. Let's move on to the team that you assembled to put this story together.
Yeah, so Asia Fulmore is a creator that Fabrice first met at a Comic-Con.
At Heroes Con.
Yeah, Heroes Con.
In 22.
Mm-hmm. And then
23.
She has a really great style. I mean, I don't even think we even looked at other options. He was just like, no. I know this is the right artist for this project, and he was right. And then Amanda Meadows, we met at another comic book convention, and we just kind of we vibed. It was kind of a situation where we were surprised we hadn't met each other. And then we just had a meeting, and it was really just great to have this first book, especially be edited by a Black woman who's familiar with comics, and also a just Black woman to Black woman. I know that there's nothing, I don't have to like second guess why she's questioning my choice or pushing back on something. You know, I think that's part of the tax of whenever you're working with people that you may not feel a kinship with, and that could be in any way. There's always something in the back of your mind that you have to work through to filter what they're saying to you, and make sure that you're taking it as they mean it, or be able to check it when they're not coming in from the right place. So
it's important, I think, and I feel what you say when you say as a Black woman, it was kind of cool to have an editor who was also a Black woman, due to the nature of your writing style, and how the character's voice is so prominent in the story, the style in which her voice is, her whole flavor, a lot of nuances that, you know, a lot of guys, you know, may not have been able to pick up on. So I thought that was a unique perspective on you to have that, because it is a very stylized book. So let's jump into it. You have these covers. You picked out the best to do your covers, including you, Fabrice.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm a guest star. I'm allowed.
You got some skills.
Thank you.
Derek, do we have those covers queued up? My producer is trying to decide if I told him not to do something or I didn't tell him. No, he says no. All right, well, fine. We'll say that towards the end. But let's jump into the story. So we talked about Asia's artwork, which is fantastic. I think I got to meet her at Atlantic Comic Con a couple of years ago. Brilliant artist. Let's talk about who Mutiny is within the story.
Yes. I guess I will. When I was writing and when I was thinking of the story, I guess my first audience in my mind was like, I'm thinking about all of the Black women and women who come up to the table at conventions, and they're either A, kind of whispering that it's their first comic book convention, or they're like the girlfriend or wife of, right? And I remember, you know, being just that at one point. Like, I was in their shoes, you know, I was like, okay, I guess I'm here. I'm in this world now, and what does that mean, and how engaged will I be? And it took me a while, and then I was like, oh, I can engage with this side or with that side, and so once I really started to understand comic books as really just a medium, like it's not a genre, it's a medium, and I think that is a big distinction, and that is an important distinction as a storyteller, because once you understand it's just a medium, then it's like, oh, I'm just telling a story. And there's stories that I gravitate towards probably my entire life are kind of like misunderstood, like maybe kind of loner-ish women that don't really, like, they could fit in, but there's something that is just a little off inside that makes them feel like they're on the outside, like watching life. And so I think there's parts of myself that I really identify with that, and I really wanted to put that in there because I just feel like especially like a lot of things I've seen online, I think there's a lot of people that feel exactly this way right now, because especially coming out of COVID, like I felt coming out of COVID, I felt so weird to myself in a way that I'd never felt before. I felt so weird socially in a way that I'd never felt before, or at least hadn't felt in a long time. And I felt like I'm reintegrating into life. And so I just felt like this, like who she is, like, yes, she's a badass, but she's also a little bit detached, and she's a little bit self-involved, and has created this like online community, but like doesn't really seem to have community, and like is really good at like somehow helping men connect with women, but like who is she really connecting with?
Let's talk about that aspect, because you mentioned the dichotomy of her being sort of self-absorbed, but also sort of detached from the community, but she has a job that seems sort of somewhat contradictory to that. She's like an enigma wrapped up in a riddle. Talk about what her job is.
Yeah, so she's created this like job for herself of like kind of, maybe she would say like reaching across the aisle to the incels of the internet and helping them connect with women, helping them find success in dating. And so, yes, I think we mentioned before it started that like it reminds you of Hitch, and that's exactly what I had in my mind as I was like, well, what's the flip of that? And also, how can I be a little bit more like, kind of skewer something, because I feel like so much of the online discourse around this group of, I would say it's not just men, but I would say the discourse is primarily around men, is so like, let's throw them in the trash. And I just was like, well, what if she, because she just takes a very practical, pragmatic view, is like, no, there's an opportunity here. And actually I know like not only how to make money off of it, but I know like, I see what they're missing. I see how to help them connect. So I just thought like, this is somebody, and I think there's probably parts of myself that's like I can be very pragmatic. It's like, maybe this isn't really truly who I am or what I want to be, but like, I know this will work and I'm going to do it, because we're in this land where nothing makes sense after COVID. And that's what I'm going to do.
So she's this modern day matchmaker in New York. She's got this online following where they're like, hey, follow me. Here's the latest guy that I'm trying to help, get out of his own way so that he can meet women and what have you. But you mentioned she's a badass. She can certainly defend herself. She's got some warrior spirit to defend herself in these New York streets. So she helps this guy find this woman, and he tries to step with her, step to her. She immediately runs away. She tracks her down, tries to mediate the situation, and find out she's not exactly who she sees, the woman who her client tries to talk to. Why don't you talk about this?
Yes. So I think my favorite thing about like where this, like their meeting, is that it's in the restroom, like it's in the ladies' room, and like it's a place where like, things get revealed, and like people like do shed a version of themselves that they had, on the exterior. And, this is where you're applying makeup or where you're crying. Anyway, so it's interesting that like, she's not, they're meeting in a place where vulnerability happens, but this is a vulnerability that leads to her showing like, she is a completely different like being than
I love the fact that you mentioned that, because I had never thought about it from that perspective. This guy, we never think about. Look, me and Fabrice, other guys, you go to the bathroom. It's Do your thing, wash your hands, leave. Nobody makes eye contact. That's weird. It's awkward. Just get in, do your business, and leave. That's guys. But I hadn't thought about the fact that, for women, they have this different sort of experience in there where they're sort of shedding their vulnerability, secrets revealed. It actually makes sense now that I think about it, because the way your story starts out, and this is one of the things I liked about this book, is you immediately thrust. There's not a lot of build up. You kind of throw yourself immediately into the character, and you're wondering who this person is. She immediately pops into the issue. She's like, hey, and the way that you do it, because I show it here in this first panel, it's something that we're used to seeing. Someone on Instagram or something doing a live, talking to people, saying, hey, everybody, here's what I'm working on. And it's a great literary device to do it that way, because you get to immediately, in a very few amount of panels, she gets to describe who she is. She describes what she does. You get to see her personality, both in terms of what she's doing, how she speaks. You're seeing the comments from the people that are watching her. It's a great way to sort of immediately immerse yourself into her world and see who this person is. But it's a world that you're familiar with. It's our modern world. But then you have this jarring moment as you're learning about her, what she does. You have this jarring moment where, oh, wait a second. Now I realize this is still a comic book in a certain genre of fantasy, because we've got this woman in the bathroom with a glowing hammer. What the hell's going on?
Yes.
So I thought the way you did that was kind of dope.
Thank you. Well, and so just to my influences, like I mentioned, like the characters that I'm drawn to, I'm also very influenced by people being taken out of their world and ending in another world. So so the way we pitch the book to people on a regular basis is it's like Star Wars meets The Wiz. So I love The Wiz. I actually love every version of The Wizard of Oz that I've seen, but of course I love The Wiz. There is something that happens. There's a real emotional confusion that happens before entering into this other world. That's it's also true of one of my favorite movies ever, Labyrinth, with David Bowie and Jennifer Connelly, which I've watched a million times.
That movie freaks me out.
It's scary, but it's wonderful. But these are characters that don't know themselves that well, and then they enter this world, and then in that world, the rules are not what they expect, and they end up having to learn something about themselves in order to survive that world. And so this is that moment. This is the twister. This is, entering into the Goblin King's world. This is that moment. And there
are, as an aside, there are 3 fantasy films that freak me out: Labyrinth,
and Return to Oz.
Dark Crystal, not Return to Oz, oddly enough. Dark Crystal and Legend. Those 3 movies, just something about that
era.
Well, my handle is the Dark Crystal everywhere, so that I took that as soon as I logged on to Instagram. Back
the scariest, freakiest puppetry I've ever seen is in a dark
crystal. The Skeksis, they're terrifying.
It's absolutely terrifying. All right, so we have our fantasy moment. We have our, hey, what the hell's going on? Why is there a glowing hammer moment? Shay, shout out to Ray Anthony Height. What's up, brother? How you doing?
Shout out to Ray Anthony Height, my brother.
Another legend. She's whisked away. You talked about, I love these stories where someone's brought into another world. You literally have her transported to another world in a portal. Comes out the portal. Talk about this world that she's been transported in. What's this experience?
So there's still a lot of mystery even into the second book, but it's clearly not our world. It's not our planet. It's revealed later, but it's like it's not even our universe. And in this world, there are, just like our world, there's a set of rules, there is lore, there is what is currently known about the world, and what, based off of that, what can be like extrapolated from that. So in this world, that world that she just entered, there are these people that kind of hold the balance of each of their planets, called alchemists. And that's who she's run into. She doesn't realize it, but this seemingly woman, at least woman on Earth anyway, Lozo, she's an alchemist. And so there's a combination of chemistry along with magic and mysticism, all of those combined, and in terms of like how they practice protecting their planet, and also progeny, like creating growth, and like, you know, growth of plants, growth of society. And anyway, so that's the world that she is now in. Like, magic is real. Magic is now capital M spelt with a K. But magic is also like, they talk about magic as this entity, like it's the force, right? If you
I was really going to say that. That's exactly really how it comes across.
So yeah.
All right. So she immediately off the rip is handed this amulet. Amulet of invisibility. I don't know what other powers it has other than invisibility. That's the one that we first see. Lozo, the character she follows into this new world, is being attacked, and she has to kind of go on the run. And that's kind of where that first issue ends. So we go into...
Well, yes, because we don't want to spoil.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil it. We're just giving highlights.
Yes.
We are whetting appetites, so to speak. Issue number 2. Another dope cover. This looks like Swaby work right here.
This is Sway. But that was one. That was the cover for 1.
Yeah, this is one of the covers for 1, but there's a few more covers for 2. This is just a really badass cover though. So it
is. Yes. You had this as a I think it was a sticker or a giveaway with your Kickstarter. Can you just talk about what this is all about?
Yeah. Well, so I came to the world of comics in I came in it, I feel like, through the back door. That's how it feels like. I came into comics in a way that I think I'm looking at things differently than people who grew up with it. And so I have a lot of like opinions that have formed from really just like at real interactions with people at comic book conventions. I think some people, like, they're fans of comics and then maybe they go one day to a comic convention, or they never go to a comic book convention. I'm actually interacting with people, and I have a lot of thoughts about this. And so anyway, one of the thoughts and opinions that I have is like, I go to these conventions. I'm almost always, if not the only woman, I am the only woman of color, and almost always the only Black woman. I am not the only Black woman that exists in comics. I am just the only Black woman that ends up in an artist alley in comics, right? And for me, I can see part of why this has happened. It's very similar to stand-up comedy, which is also something that I do. And it's not that there are zero, it's that there is kind of a system, and the way that the system kind of feeds itself is not currently conducive to bringing in and welcoming more Black women. And so I have this position where, because of just, I have very happily close proximity to a comic creator that already had status in this industry. I get this position now, but that means that I am now having to represent, I guess, all Black women in comics every time I am the only one in Artist Alley. And it's really sad to me. And so I wanted to create something that would do two things. One, I wanted to make a sticker that people would be proud of, right? A sticker that would make people think, like, specifically like Black comic book people, be able to say, that's right. And I want people to know, wherever I put this, like, yes, I have and I do buy comics by Black women. Like, I do, like, and I support what Black women are doing in comics. But I also wanted to send a message, because I don't think enough people think about where their comics are coming from, right? I think there is something really nice right now, that there is an appetite for comics that have Black women in them. But what I find is that a lot of them, and I don't want to be misinterpreted at all, a lot of them are not being written by Black women. Yeah. Or they're Black women, like, creatively are not being centered in the process. Yeah. And so you have a lot of comic books that are well written, there's a range, of course, but they're not benefiting Black women. Like, there maybe a story is out there that, like, is a positive reflection of Black women, but who like, I just think about, like, when you create something that has somebody that is represented, that is a real type of person in society, how come more people don't think about, well, who is benefiting and profiting off of this representation, this interpretation, right? We think about it when it's like these big companies, it's like, oh, Marvel or whoever, they've got all these whatever color people at the top, and they made this thing, and then this was like a diversity play, but they're still going to be the ones primarily profiting. I think there's still something happening in, like, the comic book issue, side, where it's like, okay, there's a lot of these comics that are made about Black women, but, like, you look at the credits and it's like not a single Black woman has created it. And so I can't change that, right? I don't want to stifle people's creativity. If you want to make a comic book about a Black woman and you're not a Black woman, I don't want to stop that. But what I do want people with the sticker is to think, like, when is the last time I bought a comic by a Black woman? Let me go and see if I, like, find that. Like, I want people to stop and think, like, about the ecosystem that we're created, because we're not given enough resources to put our names and, like, just be in your face and pummel you with, like, our content, right? So it's gonna take us kind of being a little sneaky to be like, we're gonna have to plant the seed for people to start thinking about it. It's kind of like, it's not really a thing now as much, but, like, when fair trade coffee became a thing, right? People were looking for the symbol. We're like, okay, we want to buy the coffee that is, like, actually supporting the people that are, like, getting, like, it's going to the community somehow, and it's not taking advantage of. Like, I wanted the sticker to kind of do that, to be like, okay, how are we lifting up the community? Not just like, oh, I'm so happy to see a Black woman in charge. No, like, let's support for real.
Can I say something
about
the sticker? So when Kristal told me she wanted a sticker, it was like, I remember it, like, vividly. It was like, she texted me, I need a sticker for Mutiny. And so, because I'm the designer of Us Too, I start designing the sticker, and I take this character that I drew before, because I like to draw super deformed characters. So I drew this character and I put it in the middle, but the first line, the first line read, I read comics from Black women. And when I submitted to Kristal, she said, no, read is not enough. Buy is the right word. And I agree with her. Buy has intent. You're not passive. You're not just reading. You're buying.
Yeah, that's actually one of our mottos here at Black Comic Lords is buy the comics, read the comics. It's a two-part thing.
Yeah.
We want to encourage the mutual support of supporting these creators by actually buying the comics, but we also want to support the concept of readership and appreciating story above everything else.
Mm-hmm.
I remember Joe Illich, who was in the chat earlier. He did the invocation for our virtual Comic-Con. One of the things he said is that comics is the ultimate human form of media, of communication and art. And there's a lot of truth to that. And you know, when you're going all the way back to when people were scribing on the cave walls, right?
Mm-hmm.
Drawing pictures on cave walls and doing hieroglyphics. Comics is a natural extension of that.
Shout out to Randy, just appeared, sexual chocolate.
Chocolate in the house. So you know, 50% of our population has something to say as well. But 50% of our comics don't reflect that. And it's interesting you mentioned about the use of Black women in comics. I remember a year or two ago, and it might have even been during Black History Month, we had talked about the fact that we looked at these covers on comics that came out at that time. And there was numerous covers, I think it was during Black History Month, with Black women on it. But when you open the book, they had no agency. Sometimes they weren't even involved in the story at all. What I think a lot of the corporate comics realize is, hey, you know, putting a Black woman on the cover helps to sell the book for whatever reason. But that's not enough. You have to give Black characters and particularly Black women agency within the stories and not just make them fluff pieces. You know? Make them leaders, make them heroes, make them have something that has something substantive to do in the story. In essence, make them real.
Yes, exactly.
And that's what Moriyah is in Mutiny Black Girl Magic. Yeah, she's real.
And to that point, let's go to issue number 2 of Mutiny Black Girl Magic. That's your cue, Dr. Wizard. There we go. All right. You had some badass covers.
Yes.
This first one is Karen Darbo, who we mentioned earlier, who did work on Noir's The New Black. The second one, who did the second one?
Me.
I know. I was being facetious. It's giving you a chance.
Me and Morby. Morby colored it. Morby is one of my usual color artists. I've been working with him since Noir's The New Black, actually. He lives in Nigeria, and he's a wonderful man. He's just a wonderful man.
Very Akira styled, influenced cover there.
Right. But with the right colors.
But with the right colors.
And the hammer in the back.
I wanted to ask you, was there any, because yellow was like a big thing here in this character. Was there any significance to using the color yellow? So
this is very interesting because when we did Mutiny magazine,
she wasn't yellow.
I'm getting to it. So she was not yellow in issue 0.
Yeah.
And then when we did issue 1, because there was in every issue of Mutiny Black Girl Magic, of Mutiny magazine, sorry, there was a Mutiny cover. There was other covers. That was like 6-7 covers every time. We even had a Spawn cover. We had a Danger Girl cover. We had a lot of different covers by big name artists, but there was always a Mutiny cover, and that was our treasure. So Chris Cross started the trend, and he did this one. And then in Mutiny magazine 1, it was Karen already. She did a Greek style cover where she was like dressed in white with like muses in the back. It was very poetic. But for number 2, it was Elitha already, and I approached her with the idea of doing a Kill
Kill
Bill
Bill.
homage,
Mhm.
and she did Mutiny standing with a hammer, and she was dressed in yellow.
Mhm.
And then yellow kind of became like, now that she's in yellow, we can't see her in another color. And when we started talking about the Mutiny Black Girl Magic series, I was browsing on Pinterest a lot of yellow outfits, and I quickly sketched something, sent it to Asia. She added a few things, and there you go.
That's dope. That's dope. It's amazing. A lot of artists don't get enough credit for making changes like that, or spotting something that ends up becoming important to the characters itself.
Right.
So I thought that's kind of cool. Shout out to Ray Anthony Height, who I believe
Yes,
third
shout out to
one,
Ray.
right? God, love this guy's art. I'm a big fan of Ray Anthony Height. He knows that. His style changes.
There was also Guile's cover for issue 2. Guile is a French artist, and there was Asia's cover also, which you probably did not notice. A lot of people missed it, but I wanted to do a hip hop homage, so I asked Asia if she could do a Mutiny cover based on a Money Love album. Money Love was a rapper from the UK.
Money in the middle.
Yep, Money in the middle. There she is.
In the middle.
She's not in the middle. She's not on your image.
All right. So yeah, you guys definitely killed it with the art side of things. So we jump into issue 2. Mutiny's in this new world. She already has an antagonist right off the rip. This is the big bad, so to speak, at least as far as we know in issue 2. Can you describe this big bad?
Yeah, well, you don't really know too much about his story yet, except for that he's been attacking all of the alchemists. There's a threat to all of the alchemists, which is why there was even like the connection with Moriyah. She's not yet Mutiny at this point, back on her planet, because there was an alchemist who she went to seek answers, ended up on Earth to seek those answers. Basically, they're trying to figure out what can stop this guy. And it'll become clear in issue 3, like, what his rise is and what is the overall plot and what is going on and why the alchemists are even afraid of him, because I mean, they have all this power. Like they wield magic. They take orders from, the spark. It's like kind of like a god-like figure. But I think for me, my goal in issue 2 and in general with Moriyah is, I have this feeling that, like, because of even what we're going through now, you have a lot of, as a Black woman specifically in this country, like, on the one hand, there's this thing in me that like wants to fight and that wants to yell and that wants to, join what's going on. And then there's another part of me that's like, I'm tired, and I feel pre-tired. I feel generationally tired, right? And so then I end up having this, I think this is a very common feeling. There's like a disconnect with even the current fight. And I feel like in Moriyah's journey, I am dealing with like, well, what if the fight that you're in doesn't even feel like it's fully your fight, And so by dropping her there, we're putting her in this completely different universe. How does somebody who, like, she doesn't know these people, she doesn't know this place, why is it that she would care about their fight?
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's just an interesting question, and it's definitely not. It's only just starting in issue 2. You're starting to see this question in her. It's being challenged, but this guy is part of that. Is part of what starts this question for her.
She has no connection to this world, or as you said, there's no reason for her to want to get involved or or have a care about this fight. We know that this guy is not a good person. This imagery just reeks of, you know. I love, shout out to Asia Fillmore, but just this one panel. Her style of art is very unique. Not a lot of brushstrokes, but incredibly expressive with a minimalist style is what I like about her style.
Yeah.
And the amount of emotion, like you talked about, you're tired. Look at this woman's face.
Yeah.
She's tired. There's so much emotion there. You know, I thought that was kind of cool. But
yeah, absolutely.
She gets in terms of establishing her connections to the world. She gets in possession of this hammer. Shout out to Chris Cross for coming up with this concept.
Yeah.
But, the hammer is kind of like, well, tell me what's going on. Like, what are you like? It's kind of her introduction to the fact that she's in this other place, and this is sort of the voice of reason. This is the logical explanation of things. Can you talk about that for a bit? Because we get into the more emotional ties with the next stuff that I want to talk about.
Well, I guess it's all of everything related to the hammer is just very exciting to me because nobody has any idea where it's going except for us.
Yeah.
And
we're so excited about the hammer.
I think issue 1, I mean, this is kind of a spoiler if you haven't read issue 1, but like issue 1, like this, like at the end, it's like, wait, and the hammer speaks, like, you know, and it's like, who does the hammer speak to? But I think very similarly to like there's this line that gets said over and over in Labyrinth is like you take things for granted, right? What happens is that very often she'll, you know, head first into problem solving something, and then it come to find out it was exact opposite of whatever she said or thought. And so this is kind of what we're doing with the hammer, which is that like everything you think, and then even what we build in issue 2, what you think about the hammer, even that is like, you can't take anything for granted because their rules are not our rules. And you see even Mutiny doing that. And so I think hammer acts as a challenge to the reader, right? As in terms of what rules did you assume were going to be the rules here? Like very often, you know, Mutiny, it's funny because as a comedian, I have to very often think about like, okay, well, what reference is going to work in this room versus that room? And that is essentially what Mutiny is constantly coming up against, because she has a way that she speaks. She has a lingo. She has, you know, an idea of race and patriarchy that exists in her head that may not exactly apply one-to-one in this world.
Right.
And so the hammer kind of acts as a reflection of her and our, as the reader's, assumptions.
And then we have sort of a more explanation as to what this world is. So this is where you really sort of see the differences, because you didn't really see the really stark contrast between our world and this until this. Can you explain this particular page?
Yes. So this was really fun to build. I will say this, like, as a writer, one of the things that Fabrice often says is like, do the part that you're good at, you know, whatever it is in comics that you are good at, do that. Like, don't try to do all the parts. You know, find somebody who's good at the other part to do that part. The part that I am good at is dialogue, and it's because of, I guess, stand-up comedy stuff. Like my thing is dialogue, and so I kind of focus on that. And world building, I be honest, like I need help, but this part was very fun to come up with. What does it look like to create a society from scratch? And some of these things kind of came because, you know, there was that first idea of the hammer, and the hammer needed to have importance. And so there's, in this world, you want to say something? Yeah.
Alchemists are tied to a prop, a tool.
Yeah.
And in the case of Lozo, it was the hammer.
Mm-hmm.
But in the case of other alchemists, we will see other type of tools in as soon as issue 3. Like the opening scene, you see a bunch of other alchemists. Right now, you only see Lozo and Moriyah turned Mutiny is the successor, but you don't see any other alchemists. Like, where are those alchemists? Well, you're going to see them in issue 3 big time, and you're going to see how they function with their tool.
Mm-hmm.
So you mentioned she starts off as Moriyah, and then she eventually accepts the role. She's like, I'm in this new world. When in Rome, do as Romans do. I'm going to reinvent myself.
Yeah.
I am now Mutiny.
Yeah.
Why Mutiny? Why the name Mutiny?
Well,
okay, can I say something about that? So originally, because remember, it was a magazine first, and you did not ask why we created a magazine called Mutiny. We call it Mutiny because it was a Prince song. And I'm a huge hardcore Prince fan. So there's Prince references in everything I do. So it became Mutiny Magazine because I had this song in my head. He created the song for a group called The Family, which only had one album. And it's a fantastic song that he originally created because to diss a few of his bandmates who decided to leave to produce other titles. That's why Mutiny. And I thought that as an up-and-coming publisher, Mutiny was a good way of saying we're different and we're going to make it known to everybody. So she is different, and she's really the stranger in a strange land. It's perfect for her.
Yeah. But also, like, it's fascinating because this, like, I think in this book, you have kind of, you're kind of seeing it. You have the history of our company, like, and it's like, you don't fully know necessarily what chicken or egg is, you know, but it was fun for me because this name already existed. I knew we had to get to the name. And so all of issue 1, I'm thinking, well, how do we get to this name? How does she land on this name? It can't be something she already, you know, calls herself. It needs to come, like, I think it needs to come in some other way, and we need to give her a good reason to rename herself. And so I won't spoil it, but there's a reason that at some point she has for not wanting to say her actual name. And so you have this flashback, and I was a teen on AOL Instant Messenger, and I was like, I need to put this in. And so it's kind of covered, but when you read it, you can see it, you know, like how she stumbles upon this name as a teen on AOL Instant Messenger. And it's just like a name that, you know, I think there's always like whatever username that kind of travels with you throughout your life. You kind of just like, that could become your password or whatever, but it just stays like I still know what my username was from AOL Instant Messenger. And I don't know, it's actually special to me because there was a friendship that came from that. And there's only like probably 2 people that I still have in my life that know that username.
Yeah, I remember mine too, and I would never say it on a public.
I don't even know that was your name.
I'll tell you later.
It's a little- yeah, I'd be hardcore embarrassed to say my All right. So we talked about the fact that the hammer, the fact that it speaks. First of all, the dialogue on the hammer. The hammer's got that snarky humor that I love. That's kind of reminiscent of my sense of humor.
Mhm.
Very dry. I look forward to seeing more about the hammer. To be honest with you, the hammer is like its own character. It truly is, and that's like a scene stealer for me.
The hammer deserves its own book.
I was gonna say the hammer actually deserves its own book. So the hammer also, as a literary device, helps to get her to get some reason as to her new situation in this world. So that establishes kind of from a logical perspective how she could fit in this world and whether she wishes to engage in this world. But then there's an emotional connection she finds with these two. I guess I don't know. Are they technically aliens?
Yeah,
They're people from another world, I guess.
I mean, I guess she would be the alien to them, but yeah,
she'd be the alien. So why don't you talk about this? Because I love the fact that you had these two sort of ways to get her to ultimately engage with this world.
So I feel like how engaged she is still kind of a question for me, because I think she's still not taking it seriously. Like I played a lot with the idea that she's a real person. Like she's like, as in I'm writing a real person that I could know in, on the streets of New York. And if it really happened to me, what is the time period it would take me to really fully believe I am not dreaming? Like, this is for real. Like, and it also, this is like real inside baseball, but like some of this, it tracks my own journey in comics. So like I said, like I kind of came in the back door. Like I didn't grow up reading a ton of comics. Like I watched like comic like TV shows and movies, but I wasn't reading comics. And so when I came in through Fabrice, I'm going to Comic Cons, I'm kind of sitting it out, and I'm kind of like watching, and like I remember going to my first comic, I'm like, is this real? Like, is my life real right now? And so I think I'm kind of recreating those feelings of like, how long does it take someone before they participate, before they say something? And even if they say something, do they mean it? Are they really participating? Are they really engaging? Or are they just playing because they're here? They might as well. And I feel like Mutiny is still kind of like, like, okay, maybe it's not a dream, maybe it is, but I might as well have fun. She's still thinking about herself. So yes, there is an engagement, but it's like, how serious is she about it? Like, yeah.
All right. So the big bad still's trying to hunt her down and is willing to do whatever it takes to capture her as an alchemist. She eventually realizes how bad the situation is, and she's out on the run.
Yes.
I would love to show what happens next, particularly with the hammer, but that would be a huge spoiler.
Yeah.
But it's cool and makes you realize the hammer is not what it seems.
Exactly.
I will just say it like that. If you want more, read the book.
Yes, read the book. Yes.
So to that end, we have, some more art from the book. Now, this one in the upper right-hand corner. Who did that?
That's Ray.
That's Ray.
So when Ray pitched his cover, he did a couple of sketches, and that was the other one. And Kristal and myself and Amanda, we settled for the more actiony version, rather than this low key one, which is great. But because we already had my cover was kind of static, and Karen's cover was also kind of static. We wanted something that was really like in your face, and the other one was, so it was like a good mix. But I love them both. It's just we couldn't. We had to make an editorial decision.
Gotcha. And what's the deal with the Halloween head here?
So when we were doing the campaign for Mutiny Black Girl Magic #2, I was running out of stuff to show without showing too much, and I started drawing this, and I was like, because it's in a magical world, I'm gonna picture her with a pumpkin head. And in the original post, she's like, "You got to be kidding me." But that was for the campaign. That was like for people to be motivated to pledge. And the one that is lower right is also one that I did. It was something that we did for the. We had a magnet. We did a magnet for the campaign that people had access to, and I chose to use Beyoncé's outfit from one of her Renaissance shows. Yeah,
Beyonce's name pops up a lot in this book. Are you a big Beyonce fan?
I am. So every issue has a secret title, and the title is a Beyonce song. So when I title it in my head, or I title it when I'm writing, there's like a Beyonce song that is like kind of the theme of each book. But I love Beyonce. I finally got to see Beyonce, the Cowboy Carter tour, in the fall of last year, and it was otherworldly, and our seats even got upgraded. Like I was like, it was amazing. But yes, I am a huge Beyonce fan, and I feel like when we say comics by the rest of us for everybody, like I had that in mind. I had that because when you look at what Beyonce does, when you listen to what Beyonce does, it's so clear that it's a huge umbrella, right? But in the past few years, I would say probably the past 5 to 10 years, you can tell in each album who the first audience is. It's like all are welcome, but there's a first audience for this. And for me, like as a Beyonce fan, I think about those people when I'm writing. I'm like, they're gonna get this, they're gonna love this. It's for everybody. The umbrella is big, but I have a first audience when I'm writing.
All right. Now, you mentioned this earlier, and I thought it deserves, special recognition. Marvel and DC, particularly Marvel, a few years ago, caught a lot of flack because you're charging for these comics, and you've got this really crappy paper. Literally, you touch the comic, and you get fingerprints. The paint comes right off. The print comes right off on your fingers. The paper was so poor. And we're like, it's the 21st century. Why is the paper so bad on a Marvel or DC comic? That doesn't make any sense.
Yes.
It doesn't make any sense.
It does make sense because they can.
Because they know that they have the market share and will buy whatever they put a
they don't respect their readers, and their readers reward them because they like the brands, and we're fighting that with all our hearts.
And that's why you're here on Black Comic Lords, because we want to support our Black indies in particular, particularly those that go the extra mile to give you quality of product. And I always want to emphasize this whenever I do these interviews, whenever I see creators that are publishers that go the extra mile because they keep the readers and the collectors in mind and take the extra effort for these little things, these details. It may seem little, but it's consequential for true collectors. The quality of the paper that you use, you even pointed out to the people that buy your book, the soft touch cover. It truly is a nice tactile experience just to hold one of your comics. It's like, what is this? It's like, what is this? Velvet? It's just beautiful. It's fantastic.
Comics are a sensory experience.
Talk about all of these highlights that you put in here, and why was it so important for you to point that out to the people that bought your book?
Yeah, so I created this graphic to kind of like, I was like, how do we translate what we talk about on a regular basis at Comic Cons? How do we translate that to social media or just somebody that's coming across our webpage? Because we've done enough conventions that we've gotten pretty good at explaining the value behind what we do. It's yes, I can explain to you the pitch and the story, but like there's a value add to what we do specifically at Fair Square Graphics that explains the experience you're going to have, and also explains why you're going to be paying a little bit more than you're going to be paying at some other tables. Yeah. Right. And you're paying for quality, really, so quality paper, culturally authentic voices.
What's the page count on the book as well?
My book
your book is 40 pages.
40 pages.
But like a book like Mutiny Black, like the latest Noir is the New Black is 48 pages. Mm-hmm. So right. they're usually thicker than other books.
Yeah, and they feel good. Like we like to tell people that our comics literally feel good. They feel good to the touch. You feel something when you read it. That is a criteria of any book that we have, is that it has to make us feel something. And
nice cardstock on the cover and what have you. It's just it's a great experience.
Well, I want to say something about this.
Yeah,
when we started the company, we were like, and it's not vanity or anything, is how can we offer something that others don't? How do we stand out? We know our place. We're a small boutique premium publisher. We know our place, but that doesn't mean that we have to be cheap. That doesn't mean that we have to have terrible design. That doesn't mean that we can't compete. Like, put any of our books next to bigger publishers, we stand out.
Yeah,
we stand out because we go the extra mile with the quality of paper. We print in North America. We refuse to go to Asia, not because we don't like Asia. It's because we want to make sure that the books are going to be there faster. Second, we keep the jobs here in North America. Third, we don't waste any oil or whatever, have a carbon footprint that is terrible. And we also think about that. So it's a whole process. Fair Square Graphics is like the whole food of comics. We're a little upscale and we try to do things right. And Kristal hasn't even mentioned the spines of our books, which is our proprietary system that no one else is doing. And when we also stand out, that's what we tell retailers and the public, and people love it.
Yeah. So on the spine of the book, you have, instead of just the title, which normally it'll just have the title. Yeah, but it's kind of small. But anyway, instead of just the title, you have an entire description. Oh, let me see your book. You haven't, I don't know if you can see this, but there's a full sentence. It's probably too small to read. But
all right, we'll make it big. Go ahead.
Okay. So when you are, there we go. So when our books are in a bookshelf, and you don't know, if you're not familiar with our logo or our publishing company
or the names of the artists,
you could read the description of this like one line pitch, and that gives you a full, like just a short description of the book, and it probably helps you understand if you want to read it or not. Like The Big Lie could be anything, but you read this whole sentence: after decades in limbo, a Belgian reporter crashes in modern day New York. He'll have to find purpose and confront the big lie. That's a pitch.
So, and it helps it when it's sitting on the shelf at a Barnes and Noble, and you see it there, and it's like, oh, let me get that.
Exactly.
Perfect. I mean, like I said, the little things.
Mm-hmm.
It shows that you guys are just very thoughtful and professional, and you care. You care to those details. It says a lot about your character. It says a lot about your company, and it says a lot about the work that you do. Derek, can you bring the graphic back up again, please? All right, let's go to that. Let's see. Do we have any questions? Any questions for Kristal and Fabrice? We have no questions. Apparently, I did an excellent job, so no one has any questions. Now, finally, before I let you guys go, thank you again for being here, by the way. What's next up for Fair Square Graphics? Tell us what you got coming down the pike.
Yes. Well, before you say what you say, because we didn't really get to this, and it's only so many times we can talk about it, but I do feel like with the amount of eyes that could be watching, it is important to say. So, if for those who are not aware, we were one of very many companies that had pretty much all of our inventory stolen by Diamond. This was a huge theft of our property and what we were hoping to kind of build the business off of in the past few years and the next coming year. And it's also meant that our distributor, we don't have a distribution system right now in place. That is in the works. And I say that to say, we're out there, you see us smiling. There's a lot of publishers who are in our position. So if you see us out there smiling, know that we are working. We are working to be present and to move forward, to move on. How do they get away with that? Good question. They did it to us and like 150 other publishers. It's really terrible, and it's been a huge setback to what we have wanted to do and the ways that we wanted to collaborate with other creators. So we've had to scale a lot of our collaborations back, just in order to stay around, to survive. We had a Kickstarter to kind of get over a little bit of the hump. It helped a little bit, but we're still using the Kickstarter model to support the things that we're doing. So my book will have a Kickstarter later in the year. And right now, Fabrice has a Kickstarter going right now.
Yes. It's a book called No Future. So that's issue 1, but we're kickstarting issue 2 right now. And it's a very short Kickstarter that ends on February 5th. So you just have a little over a week to pledge. And it's a very special story. It's a survival sci-fi where time erases itself from existence and goes backwards. And you have 4 people who are survivors of time. Time is dead. You have to survive that. So very high concept. We have a lot of books coming up, and we managed to release 7 books last year, despite the fact that the Diamond situation impacted us greatly. Our new books are the New Noirs, the New Black series, which we started last year. The second issue, we just got the copies and we started sending those to the Kickstarter backers, but we also are going to be traveling with it at the 30 plus shows that we're doing this year. There's The Big Lie, which is...
Wait. Pause. Yeah. I just got a Noirs the New Black issue, I think in like September, just a few months ago.
Yeah, you have season 2, episode 1. This is season 2, episode 2.
Has this been announced before?
Yes, yes. If you backed the first one, you got all the documentation, you got all the information to back the second one, and then it was probably lost in the shuffle in the ether.
But
And
yeah,
unfortunately, a lot of people were in your case, and
they missed
we're not
it.
holding it against anyone. It can happen, especially if you haven't seen the first issue. And the thing is, we didn't get the first issue in time when we launched the second issue Kickstarter, and I think it played against us. And a lot of people did not really click when the second campaign came on. But we're trying to correct that, and we're not launching the third one, which we're working on right now. We're working on the third and final issue, but we're not going to launch the Kickstarter until everyone got their copy of this one.
Is it too late to get that one?
No.
You can order it on our web store.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Go to the website.
fairsquaregraphics.com. You can find everything, and we will ship it to you. Of course. Yeah.
All right.
You just won't have the choice of covers. Like on Kickstarter, you have multiple covers. On our web store, we only do cover A because it's more convenient.
Okay. My anger is subsiding now.
But yeah, I was mentioning The Big Lie, which is a book that I'm writing and drawing. This is the first time that I'm doing that. And you were talking earlier about expanding and doing stuff differently. This is one of our 2 light novels.
Yeah.
A light novel is a hybrid between sequential art and prose. And so you have, in this case, you have 30% sequential art, and the rest is prose. And we have another book called Shakespeare's Vampires that I co-created with the awesome Colleen Douglas, who's a Afro-Caribbean British writer. She's amazing. I love Colleen, and
she has a book I'm reading right now.
Silk Cotton.
Yes, Silk Cotton. Yes,
very good. Silk Cotton. And so Colleen and I, we produced Shakespeare's Vampire, which is a concept that I've had for 15 years, and I couldn't really crack. And Colleen came in and helped me make it a real thing. And thanks to her, the product exists. It's on shelves. It's been a very good success for us. And it's basically Romeo and Juliet as vampires.
Wow.
And we have a lot of things. I mean, Hyphen is also a book that we released. It's a collection of diverse Jewish stories from all around the world. It's a slice of life books. I mentioned No Future. We have a bunch of other things. I just announced a sequel to my very popular Intertwine series, which is a Kung Fu murder mystery series. We're going to celebrate the 10th anniversary of the series in October, so there's going to be a new book, and of course, Mutiny Black Girl Magic is coming back. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff coming.
You had me at Kung Fu.
Yeah.
Well, Intertwine is one of those books that was embedded in the Diamond debacle. We lost 800 copies of it, so we don't have any physical copies left, but we are offering it as a digital version on our web store.
It has been my most extreme honor and pleasure to have both of you here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. We're honored as
well. We have a tradition in Black Comic Lords that when you interview with us, we consider you family. We'd like you to look into the screen, say both your names, and say, "I am a Black Comic Lord."
Yes, I'm Kristal Adams, and I am a Black Comic Lord.
I'm Fabrice Sapolsky, and it's my great honor to be a Black Comic Lord.
There you go. Welcome to the fam.
Thank you.
I hope all of you enjoy the show. Please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. If you're not familiar with the Black Comic Lords, welcome. Subscribe to the channel. It doesn't cost you anything. You simply hit the little thumbs up thing and the bell, and you'll let you know when we do shows like this for you in the future. This is the first interview I think I've done in 2026. I think, guys, I'm going to try and continue to do the majority of the interviews on Fridays for our Friday slot and try to make this a regular thing. We're going to be planning our 2026 roster for BCL this weekend, I think. We'll start putting together what we're going to be offering all of you. Believe me when I tell you our plans are substantial and dope. You will not be disappointed. Big things are going. I'll say it like that. All right. So until next time, thank you, Kristal. Thank you, Fabrice.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
We got you.